I don't know how that happened, but hey, everybody, this is Tom, citizen of St. Cloud. I'm here in the studio with school board member John Arguello. We are about to start the show real soon here. Um, if you are watching on Facebook, please like and share our post of this video. We are shadow banned on Facebook and we have trouble getting reach on Facebook at this point. So everything that you can help to get us some reach would be appreciated, and that would be sharing the show. If you are watching on X, which was formerly Twitter, please also like that post and share it, send it out there. If you're watching on Rumble later on tonight, we appreciate that. Please go ahead and hit that Rumble button, and just stay tuned. The show is going to start in a minute here.
had any money come in. I haven't had anybody call me back. I didn't have anything. I have no idea. I lost my house. I lost my car. I lost my animals. I mean, come on, man. We're not getting anything. Till today, I still didn't get my meds. I cannot get my meds yet. My medicine was all burnt in my house. My rent money was all burnt in my house. I have no money anymore. I think Joe Biden should take his $700 and get back on the fucking plane and go home. That's what I think. Because $700 compared to all the millions he's giving to Ukraine, why? We need it. That's why we don't understand why. We're citizens and we cannot get money. But if they're not citizens, they get gazillions of dollars from the USA. Where's our government? Fix your house before you fix somebody else's house.
Is this how, like, your community, other Hawaiians you know, locals, indigenous people, is that how they feel, pretty much how you feel?
Everybody feels that way. Come on. That's why the local people stick together and we help our own people, because we know the outside people are not going to.
I think what middle of the road people are seeing is, wait a minute, okay, I have my own personal feelings about Donald Trump, but 4 indictments in 4 jurisdictions, this is nuts. At the same time, when the president's son, Hunter Biden, gets to evade taxes and evade a gun charge with a slap on the wrist, like, that's just gross unfairness. I think the American people understand that.
So you think fair-minded people say
Yes,
what's
I do.
happening here is wrong?
I think fair-minded people can look at this objectively and say, listen, no matter how you feel, this is not right. And it's indicative of what's happened to our country and our government. And if we're going to save our democracy, if we're going to save our republic, you can't leave people in charge who spy on the American people, who wanted to look into the bank accounts of the American people, who suppressed the free speech of the American people, who were telling the American people they had to take a COVID shot, who were telling the American people they're going to decide the gender for your kids. Those are all middle of the road positions that people are vehemently against, and Donald Trump is on their side. And I'll give you one more. Black families, it's harder for them to make ends meet and to build wealth in this country. They were doing it when Donald Trump was president of the United States. Our economy is stagnating and people are falling behind. They were doing much better when Donald Trump was president of the United States. I tell people all the time, this election is going to be a choice between 45 and 46. Who did it better?
Do you really think that,
Yes, I do.
that Biden's going to be their candidate?
Yeah, I do.
They're going to stick with
I
him?
think so. I think they're going to stay with
He
him.
keeps falling asleep.
Yeah, so what? So does every other Democrat. What's your point?
Well, I tell you what, you've got some elderly members of your party too, particularly sitting in the Senate. But I have to say, Barr and Donald's, a real pleasure to meet you. You bring a fresh injection, I think, into this American election debate. Tonight, any thoughts who might come through and do well?
So I got to tell you, I think you're going to kind of see somewhat of a stalemate. I think if anybody really breaks through, it'll probably be Vivek. He has the ability, from what I've seen of all the candidates, to make a moment. I think the most pressure is obviously on Ron DeSantis. This has to become his coming out party. And, you know, he's going to have multiple people on that stage who are not going to want that to occur. We'll see how that works. But I think Vivek is probably the only one that can stand out. But at the end of the day, listen, man, I respect all the guys that are going to be, and ladies, Nikki Haley, are going to be on this stage tonight. But there's a reason why heavyweights don't box with middleweights. Donald Trump is the heavyweight champ right now.
Wow.
Well, okay.
Wow. I'm going to kill you. That's exactly why we're always like, just leave it live. Leave it hot. Leave it hot. Leave it hot.
Yeah. I guess
Okay.
if something slips through, it slips through.
Okay, so let's say a quick prayer and then we'll get right down to this. Hey, thank you guys for letting us know that was going on. Lord, we are very appreciative of the opportunity to reach people through this medium. We just saw through this debate how important it is that we be able to elect our own representatives. We want to be able to hold on to that. We think we feel, the community, the country, most of society, American society feels that our freedoms are slipping through our fingers like grains of sand. And we have to be more active in grasping onto that with all our life and ability to do so, because it's clearly the most important thing that we can pass on to future generations is the ability to come to a country where you can practice your freedom of thought and your freedom of voice and your freedom of pursuing your own happiness, so to speak. So, Son, Father, please watch over us always. In your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So we were talking a lot about stuff.
On the Rumble edit, that part will be cut off, and we'll start right here from the beginning. But anyway.
All right. So here's what we were talking. We were talking about the debate.
Yeah.
Right, and we're saying that Vivek clearly won the night, right? I think that statistics say that.
We talked about President Trump's podcast with Tucker Carlson on X.
Yes, on the end, if somebody won, like what you mentioned, your line was that Trump, he may not have won the debate, but he won the night.
Yeah.
Right?
He wasn't
That's
on the
100%.
stage, so he couldn't have won the debate, but he definitely won the night with over 223 million views.
Yeah, it was more than 223 when I saw last. Views. I think that even Elon Musk tweeted out something saying how many views, that this was incredible.
Yeah.
So he had more than 10 times the viewership of the Fox debate. That's really big, right? That's really big. And that's what he wanted to accomplish. He didn't care about getting out there and saying anything. Everybody knows where he stands on most things. This was really an issue of, I wanted to step all over Fox's night, and he absolutely obliterated Fox.
He did.
And all of the other people who were running for president.
Yeah.
Byron
Byron Donalds called it out. He said that, he thought Vivek was going to be the one to have a moment, and he absolutely did. And he said it was to be Governor DeSantis' coming out party, and I don't think it was, although Governor DeSantis would argue that, and we have video that he did.
Yeah, he had an okay night, but it clearly was not the night that people were hoping for, in my opinion, at least.
No.
I think people really wanted to see if I'm going to vote against Trump, if I'm going to decide to abandon Trump, it has to be somebody who's going to carry me into the future, right? Like, you got to take me from the expectations that I have with Trump into a world where we believe the same with the same amount of fervor. You're going to fill entire stadiums with people who really believe in what you're going to do as the leader.
Right.
And I don't think that we got that.
No. He looked very uncomfortable. He was doing the bobblehead thing. He was yelling at the camera. They said that he was talking directly to the American people, but
I don't know.
If that's talking directly to the American people, it looked like more yelling to me. So
I think that some of these things I did not like at all. I'll tell you one thing I did not like when he. Okay, number one, two things actually I didn't like. I really, really didn't like. One is that he mentioned the words Navy SEAL 150 times, it seemed like. Whenever he talks about his Navy, he says, I was embedded with the Navy SEALs, I was embedded with the... Now, we get it, you're trying to associate yourself with the Navy SEALs, but you're not a Navy SEAL. You can just say, I served my country with the Navy in Iraq. All right? I went to Iraq, I did this. Because I think that when you say it the first time, everybody's already understand, okay, you're a veteran.
Right.
You're with Navy SEALs. Now, what happens when you say that is that combat veterans specifically, will be like, oh, he was a SEAL? I did the first night out. He was a SEAL? Then you realize he's not, and it's a negative. Then it's like, oh man, don't do that. Don't try to paint yourself as he's never actually tried to trick anybody from, I believe, but nonetheless, you know what you're doing. You're saying, okay, I was with these hard guys in Iraq fighting the war with Navy SEALs. Okay. Maybe he was, right? And that's why he always mentions it. But don't mention it just because you're trying to fool somebody, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's a good and bad. It will turn veterans off if they think that's what you're trying to do. Is my point.
Yeah.
But it wasn't I would say a great night.
No. And, like we were talking about before, it was a bore fest for that first hour. There was nothing really going on. And I believe that Fox News made it that way. I think they probably told the candidates, hey, we're not going to talk about Trump until the second hour. But we don't want him brought up. And I'd say that because Ada Hutchinson had said online previously that his job at that debate was to make the case against President Trump.
Which is also what Christie was there to do.
Yeah, exactly. But they didn't do any of that in the first hour. So, I mean, they didn't really talk about President Trump.
And they didn't really have any...
Hutchinson really even went after him.
That's what I was exactly... Well, I don't think that they even... I mean, aside from what they were planning to do with Trump, they really had nothing. There's no chance. No. There's nobody who's interested in that. I know that they get a 2% blip on the polls, but that's because... Here's my thought, is that if you were to poll the entire country, who do you like? People from that country who know you, okay, maybe. You were a governor, you might get 2% maybe of that. But I think really what it's about is that they try to get those people to participate. I think, they try to bump up those numbers as much as they possible to make it as interesting as they can. Because otherwise why have them at all? And they really shouldn't. If you can't get 5%, then you shouldn't be on there. But Chris Christie, he's never going to win the Republican. No. It will never happen.
And he knows that.
He knows that. So why is he even up there?
Yeah.
Why give him the opportunity just to hit Trump? Why would Fox even do that?
No.
They either should have said one thing. Either A, we're going to have a battle royale, and all of you can talk about whatever the heck you want. And you can fight with each other, you can fight about Trump, you can do whatever, you can say whatever. This is going to be 3 hours of you trying to convince the people that you're the guy.
Yeah.
Right? So fight for your life. I'd rather have that than some kind of boring thing where Chris Christie, who had no answers to anything, he had a miserable ending of his governorship of New Jersey. Why have him there?
He got booed so loud that he could not speak.
That was terrible. Yeah, it was really terrible.
And he deservedly he got those boos. But I'm wondering what happened to Perry Johnson.
Yeah, Perry Johnson was... I would have rather had Perry Johnson there than Hutchison, than the guy from North Dakota who, nobody can even remember his name.
Yeah.
What is the point? And Chris Christie, Chris Christie only brings an entertainment value.
Yeah.
But he doesn't bring any value in terms of adding to the presidential primary.
And what's funny is Christie kept talking about how he was going to... that if Trump was at the debate, he would wipe the floor with him. That he was
such a joke.
He has these great debating skills, but
the only way that he would do that if somebody laid out a whole bunch of crumbs on the ground. Otherwise, it just would never happen. He's full of it. I'm
he
not
had
so
the
sure.
worst night by far of any of them.
The worst night.
So.
He had the worst night that I've ever seen anybody in a debate in my entire lifetime of watching debates. If you wanted to be president.
Right.
If you wanted to be president.
But that's not the point. And, the couple of clips we have kind of illustrate that. This first one is one of the takeaways from the night, and we'll just play this one real quick.
They won't even talk about issues like Social Security and Medicare. Vivek, you recently said a president can't do everything. Well, I got news for you, Vivek. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing. A president of the United States has to confront every crisis facing America. I will put our nation back on the path to growth and prosperity
is the
and restore
last
fiscal
guy I want in
responsibility.
crisis because
just
he
as I did in
is
Congress
one of those people that
and as
freezes
governor
under pressure.
and when I was
That
vice
is obvious.
president.
He freezes. He's a super arrogant guy, which is surprising to me at the end of the day.
Yeah, this isn't that complicated, guys.
I can
Unlock
tell you,
American energy. Drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear. Put people back to work by no longer paying them more to stay at home. Reform the U.S. Fed, stabilize the U.S. dollar, and go to war. The only war that I will declare as U.S. president will be the war on the federal administrative state that is the source of those toxic regulations acting like a wet blanket on the economy. So I'm not sure I exactly understood Mike Pence's comment, but I'll let you all parse that out. For me, it's pretty simple. That's something a U.S. president can do with focus, and I'll deliver on it.
Well, let me explain it to you.
Be quiet. I think that he's extremely arrogant to think that he could ever run. It would even if Trump was not running. Okay, let me go back to this. These guys all, the only hope that they have is for Trump to be indicted and to have a heart attack while he's in prison.
No.
Even if he gets indicted, he goes to jail, he's convicted, he's in jail for the rest of his life, he'd still win the Republican primary. He might still win, even if he dies by write-in. Okay, that's what. Let's be honest about the numbers, right? What the numbers are telling you. The numbers are telling you that no matter what, Trump is going to win this. No matter what. No matter what you do to him, no matter what jail cell you put him in, no matter what you charge him with, no matter what you do, even from the coffin, he can win by write-in. That's all jokes aside, right? That can happen. So here's the problem. If as a Republican, you understand that, then you running is an affront to the American people, period. At least to 35% of them.
Yeah.
You running at all, continuing the charade that you have a chance of winning is nothing but an affront to the American people. You're basically going against their will. And that's why you can't win. You can't win. Your ambition is what's preventing you from being able to win. And case in point, Ron DeSantis was the only true competitive candidate for president aside from Trump when he was being the greatest governor in the United States.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
When he was here, before he took a plane out of this country, before he went on that book tour, right? He had the only chance. He was polling high. That was the closest he's ever been to Trump. That will be the closest that he ever gets to Trump. If DeSantis wanted to win the presidency, here's what he would do. He would come back home. He would continue being the best governor that the best governor that we've had, right?
Yeah.
The best governor in the country. And he would let all those other idiots act like idiots for several more months, right? Until something happens with Trump. And then if something were to happen to Trump, your paperwork is already in, your paperwork's already ready to go, you're already raising money. Then if Trump disappears, then you jump in and you're like, okay, well, Trump's not here.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're going based on the fact that, I'm praying that something bad happens to Trump so that I can be the president of the United States, that's why you won't get in.
Yeah.
That's why you won't get. That's what will prevent you, and not just him. Obviously, all of them. No. And Vivek is the only one that says, he said it at this thing. Trump has been the best president in modern day history.
Yes,
that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Because first of all, there's nobody else that would. I mean, Bill Clinton probably would have packed stadiums. I think in his time, right? He could have. If he went that route, he probably could have. Not as fervent people as Trump, right? John Kennedy probably could have been that way, right? After the war, somebody like Ulysses Grant, wartime general type of people, right? But modern day history, no. Nobody else.
Clinton back in the day, he had going for him. He was young. He was perceived as cool.
He was charismatic. He was very charismatic. Yeah. I interviewed him. And as a college student, right, for my college paper, he came to Valencia Community College. I was the editor of my paper at that time, and I got to interview him, and he was extremely charismatic. Even I was like, man, geez, I might sleep with this guy. He was super charismatic. So you can, he just really was.
Yeah, and he comes off as a nice guy, a genuinely nice guy.
But same with George, right? George Bush. Same thing about senior, junior, right? W was super nice guy. Who would you want to drink beer with if you had any president in the world? George Bush would probably be the funnest guy, the frat guy that you want. Okay, the country's moved beyond that. We don't want that anymore. No. Now we want a Trump to bring our country back to primacy, to make things normal again, so that then we can eventually enjoy somebody who we want to have a beer with.
Right.
Right now what we want is somebody who's going to lead us out of the disaster that Joe Biden has created, out of the crazy, great situation that Trump left.
Absolutely.
Him.
Absolutely. So, Governor DeSantis, John, could redeem himself in my eyes if he did come home, just like you said, issued a statement and said, look, I realize that,
the country
wants President Trump. I agree at this point that, what's happening to President Trump is a travesty, and that, I'm going to support him 100% in his goal to get elected to the presidency once more. I'm going to remain as governor of the greatest state in the nation.
Yes.
And just let it go and come home. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, that would be the best. See, here's the thing. Then people would get behind you. You have to, like they say, like if you love somebody, let them go, right? What's the saying, right?
Because he continues down this path, John. He has no chance for 28. He's going to ruin himself politically, and if he hasn't already, I mean, with the listless vessels comment, and
I think that really hurt him. Here's the thing. Listen, don't try to win this by being like Trump. Just be yourself. And at least in Florida, DeSantis was himself.
Yeah.
Nobody was pressuring him to be something that he's not, right? He might have put pressure on himself to try to expand his repertoire, but he was basically himself in Florida. Hard charging, all serious, veteran and serious lawyer type.
Yeah.
Right? That's what he was. A serious. It wasn't about personalities. You weren't kissing babies. You could kiss your baby. The babies that you were kissing were your own, and people liked that about you.
Yeah.
Right? And so, why? I mean, you shouldn't go out. Don't try to go to Iowa and put straw in your teeth. And I mean, why you shouldn't have? I just, it's hard for me to watch because, in the end, I do believe that he is a man of conviction. The problem is that he's clouded by ambition.
Yes.
And that is to me, that's the killer here for him, right? That's the poison pill. Anyways,
so we do have another clip from the debate.
Clip.
Here is another one. I think this is the one with Christie and Vivek. Let's see.
If former President Trump is convicted in a
Now
court
watch
of law,
this closely.
would you still support him as your
Watch
party's
whose hand
choice?
goes up first,
Please
and then
raise
who
your
goes
hand
next.
if you would.
Boom.
Vivek right
Boom,
out.
boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Governor DeSantis looks around.
Yeah, he looks
Okay.
back and forth.
I believe was the best president of the 21st century.
Absolutely.
Clearly.
And Chris Christie, honest to God, your claim that Donald Trump is motivated by vengeance and grievance would be a lot more credible if your entire campaign were not based on vengeance
agreeing.
and grievance.
Best
against
night of
Trump.
the line of the night right there. Best line of the night.
Want to see a bunch of people blindly bashing Donald Trump without
it's
an
true.
iota of
Yeah.
vision for this country. They could just change the channel to MSNBC right now. But I'm not running for president of MSNBC. I am running for president of the United States. We're skating on thin ice, and we cannot set a precedent where the party in power uses police force to indict its political opponents. It is wrong. We have to end the weaponization of justice in this country.
30 seconds, Governor DeSantis.
You know, let me tell you
No, I'm
something.
sorry, 30 seconds, Governor
You
Christie.
make me laugh because
Goes
you
both
sit,
ways, brother.
you sit here in an answer. You sit here in an answer right.
There you go.
You sit here in an answer.
He doesn't even know what he's saying. He doesn't even know. That happened multiple times.
Yeah, he was just
It
at a
happened
loss for
multiple times
words.
where he was at a. Why did they give him so much time? They should have been like, okay, he has nothing to say, then move on.
Yeah.
But they gave Chris Christie as much time as anybody else that was actually a serious candidate. That to me shows that it's a good thing that Trump actually kicked their butt on Twitter because they're not serious.
Yeah.
Fox is not serious.
Didn't go to that because that would have been all turned on him. It would have been.
Thank God he didn't go. You're right.
Yeah.
It would have been funner to watch,
Yeah.
right? But he didn't want to give them the ratings that they would have gotten with Trump, and everybody would have turned. Everybody, imagine the 233 million people that watched on Twitter would have been watching on Fox. It would have been the most money they would have ever made in one night in their entire existence.
Yeah.
Why would he? Why would he? And why would he have helped the other candidates in the end?
No, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But Governor DeSantis, like I said, felt he had a good night, and these are his comments towards that.
The thing about the debate is, nobody hit me, so I wasn't going to get involved in that scrum. I know those guys were going back
But
and
why?
forth.
Why didn't anyone hit you?
100%
Yeah,
of my
that's a
time.
shocker right
was
there.
to
It's because
speak
he's not
directly
the
to
true number
American
two. Everybody
people
knows that there's no
about
chance
our
for
vision
anybody
to
else.
reverse the country's
If he was the
decline,
clear number
what
two, he would have
specifically
been.
we need to do, and most importantly, what I've already done to show that I could do this nationally. And of anyone on the stage, I'm the only guy that's actually delivered on all the things that our voters care about. And that's, I think that contrast came
I
through
think that's a
very,
legitimate
very
statement.
strongly. And I think that's part of the reason you're seeing some of the stuff with who would you consider and us being the top.
I think that's legitimate. He's the only one who has actually done what the people wanted, irrespective of all the backlash and headwinds that you get into when they don't want you to do it, right? Like the whole parental rights thing, right? Nobody wanted him to do that in politics. And they're like, oh, avoid all that controversy. He was like, F that, I'm gonna go for it. We're gonna do this. All this craziness with the transgender stuff is gonna be gone. And he did that. So and why? What did that mean? That's why he was polling at near 30% before he left the state.
These candidates that were on the stage, if they truly wanted to go after him, they could have gone after him.
It's not worth it.
They could have gone to the middle and said, what the extremes as far as the books and stuff like that. And we agree on the books, there might be somebody trying to reach to the middle saying, hey, that's a little bit too much, his war with Disney, all these other things. They could have gone after him. They chose not to, which is very strange. They all went after Vivek, at least Pence, Christie, and who was the other one?
They all did
Nikki
go
Haley
after Pence. That's true. They all went after Pence. Vivek.
Yeah.
So why did they go after Vivek? It's clear that he's in second. He's the only danger to an establishment pick, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they want this guy there.
No,
I don't think that they would want him there.
No. But during the commercial break, you can see here that Chris Christie and Governor DeSantis having a laugh, having a nice little talk. Very strange.
Okay, so here's what gets me with this. To me, it's almost as if Chris Christie is there on behalf of DeSantis. He's the one that he's the one that benefits from him. He's the one that clearly DeSantis is the beneficiary of that. Chris Christie does nothing but take away votes from Trump, and he would give them to maybe somebody like DeSantis.
Right.
If you see Chris Christie come out and then endorse DeSantis afterwards, you're gonna be like, okay, man, these guys are in cahoots, Yeah. Otherwise, DeSantis would be the biggest threat to Chris Christie, and Chris Christie should have been, instead of hitting Trump, he should have been hitting DeSantis.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have two dichotomies. You have either Trump or Chris Christie. Because right now it's like Trump and DeSantis. DeSantis essentially bills himself as Trump light, right?
Yes,
Trump with no drama, all right? That's not enough.
Yeah.
You can't be Trump anything. You got to be either Trump or you're not Trump.
Yeah.
Is the bottom line.
Well, like Governor DeSantis said, he felt he had a good showing because he didn't get hit all night. But like I talked about earlier, his behavior during the debate with the bobblehead and the kind of yelling at the camera, and he got trolled by Vivek. I don't know if most people realized that or saw it. I think most people did catch it, but if you didn't, a lot of people online did. Somebody turned it into a meme.
Yeah.
Watch this.
We would
not support it.
Europe needs to step up. I would have Europe step up and do their job.
Mr. Ramaswamy, but you're saying you would not too, Governor DeSantis?
I will have Europe to pull their weight. Right now, they're not doing
you
that.
would not support
and I think we need to
Look at the finger.
And I think our support should. They're not doing
You
that.
would not support
and I think we need
more
to do. And I think our support. And I would have support in China to be able to take China.
He got distracted by. Look at him. He got pissed.
To be able to take.
He really got mad. See, look, this is if he had a really good team, and then he takes that hard swallow, he would have he would have been ready for that. He would have known, because the only legitimate person up there who's not running for DeSantis, right, is Vivek. Everybody else there is just going to help DeSantis.
But you're not doing what we need to do to secure our own border.
But we're not handling votes.
Okay, so who did this? Miguel California?
Miguel California, he's part of the Dilly meme team, the Dilly 300, and they are Trump's online war machine. So they do DeSantis memes almost all the time. This one illustrates pretty clearly what went on there,
But here's the thing. He should have had a comeback for Vivek at that point. He should have known that it was going to be between him and Vivek. He even had it in his notes that it was between him and Vivek, right?
Yeah.
That were released ahead of time.
No.
And the fact that he didn't have anything prepared, you already knew. It was in your notes.
Yeah. I think once the notes went out online, they went back and changed everything, and then he forgot.
You should have been prepared.
Yeah,
right? You should have been
absolutely.
prepared. You knew that was going to happen.
Absolutely.
You should have said, listen, Vivek, if you had any experience, that's what you would be doing instead of making jokes. Whatever it is. Vivek, you're a great businessman, but if you had any experience doing anything for other people, you would have something.
Yeah.
Something. And he just sat there. He looked all victimized by Vivek. And Vivek looks like a kid.
Yeah.
So, that's not a good look. You can't have a president that gets pushed off of the hill by a kid.
Yeah. He's the political newcomer on the stage, doesn't have a record to run on, and there's lots of things you could go after Vivek about, but nobody hit him in the right spot. Nobody really got him the way you thought that they would.
Considering everybody was going there to kind of take him off.
Yeah.
Right? They're still going to take him off of the whole. That was going to be the end of his campaign, and nobody even came close to achieving it.
No. So, John, we know that President Trump went and got arrested. They took his mugshot. Here it is. You know, I think everybody's seen it at this point.
Everybody has seen that, yeah.
Looking fierce there, President Trump, and looking angry. And he has every right to look as angry.
Man, that's
as
the
he
way
does.
my dad used to look at me when I got in trouble. That's the look my dad used to give. So, I mean, I feel bad for the guy who had to take this mugshot. First of all, chances are he's a Trump supporter, law enforcement. And then second of all, it's like, man, I'm so sorry that this is happening to you, because the whole world apparently knows that this is all a scheme to hold on to power and nothing else.
Absolutely.
It's just it's a shame.
This mugshot right here is going to be on T-shirts. It already is.
Yeah.
It's going to be all over the place. And from what I heard, since this has occurred, President Trump raised another $7 million.
More than $7 million. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. Within 24 hours of that happening, he had raised over $7 million. Yeah. I mean, that's big.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
God bless President Trump. Let's hope that there's no more indictments coming down.
Yeah. I mean, this is happening literally in Nicaragua right now, where they're arresting anybody that files for president. They arrest even the attorneys that file to defend the presidential candidates who file for presidency. They get arrested. So listen. This is not something that is uncommon across the world. It is common, in fact. In fact, it's the most common. People who file to run for president against the president of Nicaragua end up going to jail. And the lawyers who file to defend those people who get jailed for running for president, for no other thing than running for president, also get jailed. What does that tell you? This guy is being politically persecuted. There's precedents for it all over the world. And that's what we're seeing here in the United States. It's something that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
We've never seen it in this country before, but we're watching it now.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah, it really is.
Hey, John, do you know who Robert Peters is?
Never heard of him.
Robert Peters.
Is he a friend of ours?
No, he's not.
He's absolutely
he's
not.
He's definitely
not
a friend of ours. But
he's not a friend of ours or of the show's. He is a crook. It sounds like a crook name. I don't know. Who is it?
Like
I wonder
a
who it
porn
could
name.
be.
Robert Peters.
Robert Peters, man.
All right.
Listen, let me give you a piece of advice. Do not trust Robert Peters with your kids.
No.
Okay, unless you want a sniffing machine. Oh, this would have been a great time to use that sniffing video.
Anyway, let's learn a little bit about Robert Peters.
Robert L. Peters. Ask yourself, anyone know that name? Anybody? Raise your hand if you know that you do? Okay. According to documents we've now uncovered from the National Archives and emails retrieved from Zero Experience Hunter Biden's laptop, Robert Peters appears to be a pseudonym for your president, Joe Biden, when he was using as vice president to conduct official government business. Biden likely trying to hide these communications from prying eyes or public records requests. Now, the chairman of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, James Comer, he is now demanding that the National Archives turn over all documents and communications featuring Robert L. Peters and two other pseudonyms that were used by Joe Biden. Now, Comer is especially interested in emails that included Hunter Biden and two of his closest business partners, Devin Archer and Eric Schwerin. Now, Chairman Comer is also requesting drafts from Biden's 2015 speech to the Ukrainian parliament. That's because Hunter's business email was CC'd on numerous government documents sent by Robert L. Peters, including at least two emails involving Ukraine. And it looks like the big guy was possibly sending drafts of a speech to the Ukrainian parliament to his son Hunter, who at the time, we know, was addicted to drugs and had no experience in Ukraine, energy, or oil. Now, very strange to say the least. At the very same time, Hunter was getting paid big bucks to serve on that oil giant in Ukraine known as Burisma. That's the oil and gas company. And we all know his background. He has none. And with all the other suffering that he had from his addictions, How was he capable to make all these $1 million deals in a business that he had no background or experience in? That's a great country. If you have a great job, if you can grab that one. Now, the owner of Burisma even reportedly thought, according to that 1023 form, that he believed that Hunter Biden was stupid and that his dog was smarter than Hunter. And don't forget, I didn't say it, the guy did. His father, Joe Biden, claimed to have no involvement at all whatsoever. He never once discussed with his son, Hunter, his brother, or anyone else for that matter, their foreign business deals.
And we know that's not true.
Yeah, that's not true. Not even close. He discussed it with Robert Peterson, who was discussing it with. The fact that Hunter is dumber than a dog, I'm not surprised. I have a dog. I have a Rottweiler. Her name is Prudence. She's the most beautiful, sweetest thing on the planet. I love her. The only thing I love more than this dog is my kids. She is phenomenal. She is extremely intelligent. There's no way that she's not smarter than Hunter Biden. There's no way. There's no way. I would bet all my money. I would bet my life on it. My dog has to be smarter than Hunter Biden. And she doesn't smoke crack, which is good. Yeah, it's a good. She doesn't smoke crack at all. Not once. She's never smoked crack. So, yeah, I love my dog Prudence, man, but I would not trust her around Hunter Biden. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Or any other of the sniffers in the family.
All right, so John, there was another poll that got released, and this poll was a Fox News poll. Voters feel Bidenomics is making things worse.
Come on, I don't understand how they continue to promote this Bidenomics phrase. They will never be able to turn, I mean, I hate to say never, but how can they ever turn Bidenomics into a positive when people are broke?
Yeah.
Everybody knows, everybody's broke. I mean, it's not like it was before. You know, like people can't, there's just no way that you can actually be a real person who has to buy, you know, eggs and milk and think that this economy is thriving. There's no way.
No, not at all. And I think, you know, the results of this poll show that. I mean,
let's check it out.
Let's look at this first one. This first one, has Biden made the economy better or worse? So it looks at September of 2021, July of 2022, and now. And you can see the difference, John. I mean,
man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's the idiots that have increased it from 17 to 25? That's what those are the people, that right there, those are the people, that 8% right there are the people who are devoted Democrats.
Yeah, those are the people that totally drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Or the doctors that are performing genital mutilation on kids, you know? Like those are those. So worse, of course, it went from 47 to 52. I mean, yeah, that's of course. I can't believe it's only 5%.
Yeah, and you see the little changes there. Like it was 55 in July of last year, and then 52 now. I think that a lot of these numbers and the little bit of difference between last year and this year is them pushing that message of Bidenomics and that it's working. And these are the people that
all Democrats
that buy hook, line, and sinker everything that CNN says, everything that MSNBC says. You know, because if you're looking at your own wallet, look at your spending habits and what's going on out there, you have to know that things are not better.
Yeah, things are not better. Absolutely not. And they're printing more money. They're giving, and I mean, and I don't even believe these numbers. I have no faith in these polls. There's no way that you can burn an entire island of the state of Hawaii and then those people won't impact these polls. Are things better? You just offered me $700, but you gave the Ukraine billions, tens of billions, and you're paying for their pensions and for their government to operate, but you guys are offering me $700 as an American citizen in the most expensive state in the United States, probably one of them at least.
What a nightmare.
And you're giving me $700, but you're giving billions to you. You're paying their pensions. I mean, come on, you're paying their pensions. How can anybody think that? So anyways, I believe that this is all Democrats. Those are the people who believe that. They're being told to smile while they're getting pummeled.
All right, let's look at this next one. Personal financial situation. And, it looks at August of 2021, December of 2022, May of 2023, and now. And you can see the change. And, people that think it's excellent or good has gone way down.
20%. It's gone 20% basically in both directions, right? So 20% feel that 20% fewer people think that it's excellent or good. 20% of more people believe that it is fair or poor. And I mean, I don't even know how the numbers can be that good for Biden. Those are atrocious numbers.
Yes.
Those numbers are atrocious. But nonetheless, I mean, I don't even know how it can be this good.
Yeah,
for
I
him.
expected them to be even lower than that.
How
But
can
you
they
know,
not be lower than that?
yeah, it's just amazing.
Uh-huh.
All right, so this next one is a major problem for your family. Grocery prices, and this is between June of 2022 and now. Grocery prices 54%, gas prices 49%, and utility costs 42%. That's pretty high.
I mean, 60. Okay, so I don't understand this. Okay, utility costs, right? 40% in June of 22. Thought that it was a major problem. Now it's 42. That only went up. I mean, my bills are crazy.
Yeah.
Gas prices, they have gone. I mean, they went up.
Yeah,
They've gone up.
They
so
haven't
much.
gotten better. So
I mean, they haven't gotten better. So how can you think that it's a major problem in 22 and only 49% think it is the one now? I don't understand it. I mean, gas prices are higher than ever. I almost paid $4 a gallon recently.
yeah.
So it was like $3.89 or something like that.
Yeah, and then groceries is about the same, you know.
Yeah.
So the next slide on this is dissatisfied with the direction of the country.
Yeah, this is why I don't believe that any of these polls are true, because this one looks far worse than any of those other polls. And and the one thing that people care about is the economy. It affects everyone of every party, every persuasion, every thought process, right? Money in your pocket impacts everyone. And so 20% of Democrats were dissatisfied in April of 2021 with the direction of the country. And now 43%. That's all Democrats. More than twice as many Democrats dissatisfied. How can 43% of a party be dissatisfied with the direction of the country when they're the ones with the president?
Yeah, and this is the thing, John, is that you see so many Democrats that are not happy with the direction of the country or the Biden administration, and yet the Democratic Party is set to push this man to be the nominee.
I think that they're doing that without the intention of him becoming president. I think that they're just raising money and priming the whistle, because in the end it's going to be Michelle Obama. I think that Joe Biden is probably not going to make it to the election, and it's going to be Michelle Obama. That's what my belief is.
Yeah,
and then it's going to be
I've heard similar things. Yeah.
It's going to be Gavin Newsom versus Michelle Obama in that primary after he leaves, because Kamala Harris can't do anything.
No.
But this is super important that 43% now you look at the Republicans, 94% dissatisfied with the direction of the country. I don't understand how it could have been 84% in 2021.
Right.
I guess that difference is now Chris Christie. He's worth about 10% of the entire population.
Isn't Christie polling at 6%? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
he's
sure.
polling. So yeah, and independents. This is the big number right here.
Yeah, 76.
65% is gigantic.
Yeah.
76% is gargantuan.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Independents lean right normally.
Yeah.
And
they're going to be the ones who decide this election.
Yeah, they're going to be the ones that decide this election for sure. But I mean, 76% dissatisfied. You put Trump in there, there's no way they're not going to vote for Trump. It doesn't matter who you put in there, and that's why they don't want Trump, because they think that they can get away with some other swamp guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last slide on this one is top reasons voters disapprove of Biden. Okay. Yeah, so handling of the economy, 27%. I thought that would be a lot higher.
Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they want. What do they want? Do they want us to be more broke? They're like dissatisfied with the economy. I don't understand what it is that they're looking for. They just can't admit that they're wrong.
Yeah.
This is like a pride thing, right? Like,
it is the highest number though out of.
It is the highest bit. Man, only a third disagree with his. Let them keep printing money and let's see how, what are they going to be upset with then?
Disapprove of policies at 18%.
Only 14% are disapprove of his age and mental state?
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, that's insane. That's what I'm saying. Dishonest girl, only 10%. Only 10% of people are upset with the fact that he's so dishonest and corrupt that it's made us a big joke? I mean, and only 6% of Democrats are okay with having an open border where people are coming in. Chinese soldiers are coming in from the bottom of the country, and only 6% are upset by that?
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. That's why I don't believe these numbers. That can't be true. It can't be true.
Well, that was that poll.
Wasn't there another poll that we were going to bring in that wasn't related to this study specifically? But
yes, it talked about, and let me see if I have it here.
I mean, I'm really, those numbers they don't make sense together, right? Because if we have somebody who's like,
Shoot, I don't have
maybe
it.
not. Okay,
No.
so if they're so dissatisfied, you look at the number of people that are dissatisfied, but then they can't identify why. Right? It's like, okay, you add all those numbers, that's a big number. That's a big percentage, right? That they're upset. And maybe they're all choosing one, or maybe they're choosing more than one. Maybe they're upset with everything that he's doing. I mean, I don't know how they're doing it, but anybody that can still be a fan of Biden is just, I mean, how can you be described?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's next?
Talking about the border, Biden is quietly auctioning off border wall parts.
This is what I was going to send to you. I'm going to look for it while we talk about it.
Efforts of the Republicans to restart construction, and they're selling it for pennies on the dollar, from my understanding. And here's a pic of the border wall parts just laying out in the sun.
Now, listen to this. I'm glad that you pull up that picture, and I'm going to send this to you. So there's a company, right? Like they talk about in this story that there's a company where they are auctioning this stuff off. Here it is. Look, sections of it. Look, all this. Look, sections of it here, and then. So, anyways, there's a company called Iron Planet or Gov Planet or something like that, and they basically sell off. Surplus, right? Military surplus, governmental surplus, and all this stuff when they're done with the equipment. And this stuff I was looking for a military Humvee to buy, right? And so I search on this Government Planet. I'm going to see if I can find it for you guys. I search on this Government Planet. I look at all the Humvees that come up for auction, and they go for several $1,000s. Well, these, from what I understand, if I remember correctly, they had these bundles of this tubular structural steel, and this stuff was selling for like a couple $100. Pallets, dozens, and there it is, right? Oh, well, I thought that was it. And I couldn't believe it. They're selling the border wall, and I was thinking to myself, man, if I still had a sign company, I would be all over all this structural steel. It's so important. It is so valuable. It's so great to have, and they're auctioning it off for nothing. That's it right there. That's a piece of it. Wow. I mean, I can't believe it. Yeah. It's such a shame they're selling. Now, what's going to happen? Trump's going to win. They're going to want to build that border wall. We're going to have to buy all of that stuff back.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're going to pay high dollar on the stuff that we already had in our possession because they're scrapping it.
But this is just, the thing, John, is that the Democrat Party has no intention of putting up any kind of border wall.
They don't want us to.
They don't want it.
But I mean, we're going to do it no matter what. We're going to do it no matter what. It is what it is. At some point, the Republicans are going to have control over that again, and they're going to put that wall up. Yeah. It's just a matter of how much you want to pay, and they want that to be a big issue. They want to be able to fight over that later. And I just don't know how they really can. It's
they view these people as future Democrat voters, and they don't want that border wall closed.
I don't think that they are. I don't think that they are. I
heard a story that they welded the doors open.
Wow.
On the existing parts of the wall.
Wow, I wouldn't be surprised if they cut holes through it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what's going on, man. It's a shame. I mean, we'll see. I'll find it. We can move on to the next story, and if I find this thing,
we're going to go on to our weekend at Biden's, and it kind of turned into the week at Biden's because the weekend passed.
week after week after week.
We
really.
did attend the HD 35 debate out at the Orange County GOP on Thursday night. That's why we did not have a show on Thursday night, so we could bring to you
and we will talk about
our thoughts about this debate. But anyway, here is our week at Biden's.
Right now, the Maui community is helping the Maui community, and it's really affected me because where's the president? He decides to come here this week, to come here next week. I mean, like, where aren't we Americans too? Like, we're part of the United States, but why are we getting put in the back pocket? Why are we being ignored?
The president has faced some criticism from Republicans because he spent about 5 days not talking about this as many of the devastating images and numbers were coming. Do you think the Republican criticism of the president's willingness to talk about this in public or lack thereof is fair criticism?
You know, what I can tell you is the president directed me to go to Maui to assess the damage, meet with the governor, meet with the local officials, you know, giving me the opportunity in this space to make sure that I can understand what's going on, and then I report back to the president. I was in complete communication with him throughout this event.
What I doubt was that she was in constant communication while he's on vacation mentally for the past 2 years.
Wow, he's finally here.
All right, I'm going to have to turn down the sound on this one for a minute.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for nothing.
So hearing these people are a good thing. They're F you, F you. They're all screaming F you, F you. Remember the days when the presidential caravan used to come through town and the streets would be lined with American flags and people waving because the president came to town? This is how bad things are.
One called it a diamond
they were all
in the rough
yelling
hope.
out, and I think you
Another
can guess by
referred
their
to
hand
fire
gestures what they
cannot
were
reach
yelling
its
out.
roof.
But,
Fire cannot reach its roof.
he felt the pressure. He had to go to Maui. Interrupt his vacation.
This guy asked him, "You want some water?" He's like, "Oh."
Got his leg going back to vacation. Wow, that's his return to Tahoe.
I've been talking to UAW. Obviously, I'm concerned. I think that
Not a popular
there should be
guy.
a circumstance where
Yeah, how can this guy get more votes than anyone in the history of American elections? I mean, and he can't go outside without getting booed. How is that possible?
Yeah, how is that possible? You know what I mean? You know, he returns to Tahoe, he gets booed there. I mean, he's just terrible.
Yeah, he's terrible. I mean, people don't really. I mean, I don't think that they can really. I mean, how can they make excuses for this guy at this point? I don't understand. That's why these numbers don't make any sense. I don't know how a human that has not had a lobotomy, like, I mean, if that guy Fetterman, you know.
Yeah.
Is a Biden supporter. I believe him. In fact, I'd pray for him. I'd like caress him and be like, "You're gonna be okay, guy." You know. But I mean, anybody else who has not had a lobotomy, how can they still be supporting Biden?
You know, this is Joe
Unless
Biden.
they're getting rich off of it.
Yeah, this is Joe Biden in a nutshell, and this is another video from him in Maui. But we didn't include that in the week at Biden's. But check this out. Look at this.
Shutdown mode. Shutdown mode. Sleep
there
mode.
There he goes. Yeah, he's out.
He went into sleep mode, man. That's just sad. It's terrible.
This is unbelievable.
It's terrible.
We have this
it's
guy.
Absolutely terrible.
Anyway, so we talked about what's going on in Maui and Hawaii. It's just a damn shame, John.
Yeah.
There's so many things coming out of there. Nobody knows what the truth really is, but the governor of Hawaii is out there, and she's saying that she's warning developers against land buying in the devastated Maui area. So,
I mean, this is something they should have across. This is an interesting thing. Now, I'm a big believer in property rights, right? But at what point are your property rights being violated when somebody comes and they take over your property, right? Because the whole idea about rights is that my rights end where yours begin, right? And these property, basically what's happening is that people are going to come, right? There's a big fire, and developers who have all the wealth in the world, they're going to come and buy all this land. All of the local natives of Hawaii are going to be pushed away because they got to sell, right? They're going to take their money, and God forbid they have to move to some crappy place like California. I'm talking about their sidewalks, and what happens? They develop, and then all of the local character is gone. All of these developers take over, and then they resell at a profit all of this land back to them. We shouldn't be doing that as a country, so what do you do to prevent this? And I was saying earlier, we could use this in our county, right? Because that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah. Do I believe that we should be able to control how somebody sells their land? No. Do I believe that in controlling what you can do with your own land? No. But once you sell to a public company that's not a human being, I'm not so sure that, property rights apply in that situation anymore the way that they would for an individual.
Well, I also feel that, a municipality has the power to zone things a certain way so that the town doesn't turn into a disaster area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Osceola, right? They've really destroyed Osceola.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all here, and it still is. So, Anyway, God bless those people down in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it is strange. Like I said, there's a lot of stories coming out of there, unverified stories about what's going on and what happened, what really happened. We're not going to go there just yet, but we'll move on. So there is a company behind a contentious Michigan battery factory that quietly appeared as a Chinese foreign principal in filings, John. And we were just talking a couple of weeks ago about a lab in California that was run by the Chinese.
An unregistered company in California that was running a bio lab, which had all kinds of poison essentially running through COVID, like we're talking about bio poison in their lab leaking. They had a hose. It all came about because they had a hose walk down to the street, like nothing. And they had all kinds of nastiness in there. And now here we are, another Chinese company in some kind of involved in this. I mean, if you need any more proof, if they were in a court of law and you had to convict them of being an enemy of the United States, it would be the easiest case ever, I think.
Absolutely.
And that's really, we just wanted to mention it. So
not to mention the air balloon that was flying over the United States, the couple of them.
Yeah. All the encroachments,
secret police in California,
and in New York. In New York, they have police stations in New York. Yeah. And then, of course, the fact that they've been stealing intellectual property from the United States for decades, and really causing us a ton of harm. I swear, I think that's one of the reasons I would love Trump. It would be great if Trump would be if you don't, you're going to pay. You're going to pay for everything that you do financially, and we're going to take this money out of your country no matter what. Because in the end, China still needs the United States more than we need China. If we stop buying Chinese products, if we went to war with China and we stopped buying Chinese products, we could make our own at a greater expense, but we could make our own. China can't live without our dollar. We have to, because they can't buy their own crap.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So, John, guess what?
What?
Delegation infrastructure.
Yeah,
my God.
It me.
That's an actual human being representing other human beings in the Senate. That is
how they elected this guy. I don't know. They had a choice between Dr. Oz and this guy, and they went with this guy.
A doctor. versus a doctor versus a patient. Literally, a doctor versus a patient, and you pick the patient, a mental patient. I'm not even joking. You literally picked a mental patient over the doctor.
How do you do this?
How do you do that? Shame on you, Pennsylvania. My goodness.
I hope you're happy with your selection. Mr. Fetterman was in the headlines again. He has a new look, John, a new look, but it doesn't look like the same guy. And they're saying that he's trying to model Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. And I don't know if you've seen this, but here he is. Now look at this picture very closely, okay? Look at both these pictures. That does not look like the same guy at all. At all.
I honestly could care less. He can't be worse. If that's a different guy, if they're doing, I mean, you could grow like fake beef out of a petri dish, and it's not going to be as bad as Fetterman is in real life. In fact, they should do a brain transplant with like that fake meat from a petri dish and insert it into his skull. He might improve his performance.
Right.
So what difference does it make?
I mean, he does look a lot more like Heisenberg and a lot less like Lurch, but I don't know. Something strange is going on.
He looks like
here.
a pedophile on both those pictures.
Yeah, he is he's a prize for sure. All right, so Texas, John. Texas just had a Democrat official switch to the GOP. Another one,
right? We're going to highlight it whenever we see it. We're going to highlight it. You're going to see a ton of people leave the Democratic Party and go to the GOP. Why? Because there's not a lot of options out there. Yeah. When you make it a two-party system, right? And then on one side, you basically are advocating for kids to have their genitals mutilated and to be chemically castrated. And then on the other side, you just may not like them. You're going to end up on the right side, not the left. I mean, it's obvious, right? And besides, you got a campaign with Biden under the flag of Biden. Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
So, John, I know you've seen the headlines about COVID restrictions making a comeback as of late. Some mask mandates coming down at some university and a couple of public institutions. This is a former vice president of Pfizer who went on social media. He was on YouTube and TikTok, and he had this to say.
So I've learned when people tell you what they're going to do, don't ignore them. So when the UN and Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab tell you that they've got a UN 2030 plan with sustainable development goals, I think there are 17 or 21 of them, and every one of them says you won't be traveling, you won't have a private car, we won't be using international shipping to move goods around, there won't be any flights except military or perhaps very rich people, you won't own anything and you'll be happy, you probably won't live in your own house, you'll be using much less energy for everything, including heating, manufactured goods, and so on. When they tell you that, you should assume that they're serious about it. And so I think COVID has been part one of a multi-act play that's going to take 10 years that will destroy the liberal democracies completely.
Wow.
Listen to him.
Yeah.
Listen to that guy. I mean, I don't know what book that was. We're going to have to get that book, and then we're going to have to...
Yeah, one of them was The Great Reset. COVID-19, The Great Reset, which is written by Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're going to have to look because this is crazy stuff here.
Yeah. You see this push towards electric cars, and the thing, there's nothing wrong with an electric car, John. I hear they're very fast.
And fun and great and whatever.
But you don't get very far with them.
Yeah.
You're not going to do a long distance trip with an electric car.
Which is what authoritarian states like.
Yeah,
right?
They don't want you
They like to control your movement.
Trips. Yeah. So, electric car is like a golf cart with doors, and to me. Yeah. And I know there's a few people out there that I know that have electric cars. They're very happy with their electric car. You'll never see me with one. I don't care. But there are people saying that this is the goal, is to push you toward an electric car. That that COVID-19 and these restrictions that they've put on people is part of a greater play towards more control.
Well, I think that these people are underestimating Americans. and they're underestimating Americans in the following way. Number one, they're underestimating their ingenuity. If you, especially in these past generations, maybe ours being the last, but this YouTube generation even, you can learn how to build a combustion engine. You can 3D print it now, right? Literally 3D print in metal, and they will make, these kids, this next generation, they will build an engine from nothing. If you start a war with these kids who basically wrote all the software that you're starting war against them with, you're going to lose. If you start a war against the American people, you're going to lose, right? We're not going to see any kind of like Terminator type of world. Why? Because Americans will not allow it. If you start a civil war with American men and women, you will always lose. Why? Because you take away everything that they want, and you're going to make the most ingenious, the most tenacious, right? The most independent, free-thinking people in the world, and you're going to put them against you. And, the population of the United States is not, we may not be like a China or an India, but it's a tremendously large population. We're talking about hundreds of millions of people. And if you turn 100 million people against you, who have all had the freedom to learn, and have the skills, the creative skills to do the things that we can in the United States on a whim, it's not going to end well for you. It's not going to end well. So Klaus Schwab and this guy Bill Gates, man, he's the guy that went to Jeffrey Epstein's island 32 times or something like that, right? I don't want that guy deciding the fate in my future. That guy doesn't know any better than anybody.
He's a computer nerd. What does he know about anything? And John, at the end of the day, who needs this guy? We don't need him. With these things coming back, and it's awfully convenient. It's coming back around an election, right?
Yeah.
Do not comply. Do not comply.
Do not comply.
Time. Don't do it.
Don't comply. Do not comply. Absolutely, positively, do not comply with any of the new COVID BS.
No.
Just fight it, fight it, fight it all day long. Fight it.
Yeah.
Do not comply.
No. All right, so it comes to that time where we have a message from one of our friends who has a business, and check this out.
Ever get the feeling that you want something, but you're not sure what it is? Something ooey, gooey, decadent? Fresh in the Cloud Bake Edition has got you covered. Now you can bring fresh baked happiness into your home without the time or the mess. Delicious, beautiful, and mouth-watering cookies and brownies. All of this fresh baked goodness is perfect for holidays and parties, and new flavors drop every week. You've definitely got to try the s'more cookie or chocolate snowball. You can find Fresh in the Cloud at freshinthecloud.myshopify.com, where you can easily order your batch. Remember, the next time you need a decadent sweet treat, order some fresh baked goodness from Fresh in the Cloud, a proud patriotic woman's business.
All right, so it comes to that time. We're at the state of Florida. We're going to talk a little bit about the state of Florida. Fresh in the Cloud Bake Edition. You do owe us a few cookies. I definitely need to get that chocolate snowball. And we did have a few of those cookies, though, at that event we had where we watched the debate.
Is that where they came from?
Yes. So those cookies were Fresh in the Cloud cookies that were at the debate event we had for the presidential debate. So, and they are very good.
Those were fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's where they were from. We had cookies there that were shaped like Donald Trump and shaped like the country. And I thought that was awesome. Those were great.
Yeah, and those came from Fresh in the Cloud. So
did they really, man?
Yes.
Those were actually great cookies.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I ate a cookie. It was so good. I was like, I'm not going to eat this cookie. I'm going to save it for my daughter, right? Who's like a little cookie fanatic. And I was like, so I took a couple bites. I was like, man, this cookie's so good. And I was thinking about it later. And then I took it home. I got home late that night, obviously. I put it in the baggie and I put it next to on the counter for it to go in her lunch. And there was a whole bunch, but there was like, at the end of the night, I ended up taking, someone packaged several cookies for me. Apparently they ate them all like the next day. So I didn't get any. I had a couple bites, but man, that was a great cookie because I was thinking about it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So Governor DeSantis, John, as you know, before the debates, had a moment of his own, quite similar to Hillary Clinton's moment from 2016 with the basket of deplorables comment that she made. But this one was a little bit different.
DeSantis seems to have a new strategy to get elected president: go after Trump's supporters.
We have a strand in our party that views supporting Trump as whether you are a rhino or not. And so you could be the most conservative person since sliced bread. Unless you're kissing his rear end, they will somehow call you a rhino. So you're not rooted in principle. If all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
Okay, so Charlie, I've covered a lot of Trump rallies. I've talked to a lot of their supporters, and I can tell you right now, I'm calling it listless vessels is going to be on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And if it's not already on one right now.
I need one of those shirts.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. No, it's a terrible strategy. And it's so frustrating because Ron DeSantis has such a tremendous record to run on. There's so much promise for him, but he is really failing. Like we have seen few politicians with so much going in their direction fail as badly as he is failing. He's not very good at politics. It's appearing, and the biggest tell is when you go after the voters that you're supposed to win over, and you attack them and you mock them. We've seen Hillary Clinton tried it with the basket of deplorables, as you pointed out. And it didn't work for her. And so he's coming up, not only is he coming up with something, I don't even know what a listless vessel is, except that it's insulting. And the suggestion is that these people are not only all the things that Hillary Clinton thought they were, but they're also stupid and they're getting snookered. Trump voters are very, very wise to that. And he's doing himself serious damage that is going to carry with him not only through this primary, but it's going to hurt him 4 years from now.
Absolutely. And John, he went and tried to backtrack on that statement and say that he was addressing certain Congress people and not, but you can clearly hear his words, what he said right there. And he was talking about Trump supporters, in general. He wasn't talking about just certain Congress people that support Trump.
Yeah. So we were talking about this before the show too, right? This is the thing. I already mentioned this earlier. I do believe that DeSantis is a man of conviction, which is something for me that if you're not that, you cannot be president. It's an automatic disqualifier. It's a disqualifier for Pence. It's a disqualifier for Christie. It's a disqualifier for the two old guys who I can't even remember what their names are that were on that debate stage. It's a disqualifier for all of these swamp bastards who are taking over our country and who are fighting for no other reason than to protect their own ambition. That being said, I think that DeSantis has a little bit of that characteristic where he's being too ambitious, and his ambition is causing him frustration, and that's causing him to take missteps. That's showing his colors a little bit on the ambition side. And that's the worst thing that he could possibly do. When that guy said it, he's got a tremendous record to run on. He's got a great record. He should just be saying, hey, look at Florida. Would you rather live in Florida? What state would you rather live in? Right. You can ask that question to any citizen of the United States any day of the week. What state would you rather live in? I'll give you $1 million. You can go to any state you want. Where do you want to go live? Yeah. They're going to all say, I want to go to Florida. Yeah. Right? They're going to all say, why is that? The reason that you want to come here, let me tell you, the reason that you want to come to Florida is because we had somebody like DeSantis as the previous governor. That's right. And as the current governor, but he's kind of MIA right now. Yeah. But the reason that you want to live in Florida is specifically because of DeSantis, his recovery, his reaction to COVID after kind of everybody kind of figured it out, his policies for parents and for citizens coming first, as opposed to a ton of special interests, until his certain mistakes that he made. And let me count those out for you, right? Because here's the thing, it breaks my heart to say this, but number one, the ambition, man, we are not supposed to see your ambition. Keep your ambition under wraps and keep your humility at the top of your game, right? Yeah. Blanket your ambition with humility. That's the one thing that you need to do if you want to be a successful politician while you're running, at least, right? By all these frauds that run. I'm not saying that he is one. I'm just saying if you're a fraud like Chris Christie or Mike Pence, then you better cover your ambition with some humility. The other thing is, stay away from all the people that are swampy, dirty creatures because you don't want to be associated with them.
Yeah.
In Osceola County, this is the most corrupt county in the entire state of Florida, right? We know that firsthand. And who was one of the most corrupt people in Osceola County until recently?
Yeah.
Fred Hawkins, right?
Yeah.
And Fred Hawkins was a very, very unpopular local politician. He was a real big dirtbag. He made threats to me, to my face, if I didn't do what he told me to do. I told him to go to hell, and that was the big fight between us, right? Was that him basically telling me that I had to do my 3 things, which all the politicians threatened me. If I didn't do these 3 things, you wouldn't get anywhere. And they've been fighting me since. And then DeSantis goes and he endorses that guy who was removed from office already. I mean, it was just terrible.
DeSantis removed him from office because he was
impersonating
a law enforcement officer. He got removed from office. He was an Osceola County commissioner. He decided to run for state representative, and Governor DeSantis endorsed him. Now, this was after he won, so this was the second time. But Fred Hawkins was the guy who brought pollution to Osceola County for his financial gain.
Yeah, he basically got royalties for that coal ash crap, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and he voted for his family used to own the dump, right? Apparently, this guy brought coal ash from Puerto Rico, poisonous, toxic coal ash from Puerto Rico to Osceola County, dumped it in his own backyard for his neighbors. He's never been a popular guy here after that, right? Everybody saw him for what he was worth. And then he gets endorsed by DeSantis. That was Mark 1, right? Yeah. Mark 2 is we had all these school board races, we had all these local races where you had real good conservatives, and he would avoid everything Osceola except for Hawkins, right? And Hawkins camped there, which includes...
Hawkins was the only one who got an endorsement from Governor DeSantis.
Yeah.
Every other conservative Republican in Osceola County
was left to fight on their own.
Yep, did not get anything from Governor DeSantis.
And then, in the end, the only people that did get support, like you took pictures with low quality booths, a low IQ booths, and that made everybody know, okay, this guy's, you're with the swamp here in Osceola. I don't know what you are. If you're not the swamp guy in Florida, you're with the swamp here in Osceola County.
Yeah.
Why do that? He didn't need to do that.
No.
He would have reigned supreme in Osceola County. He really killed his chances of winning the presidential primary in this county, at least. From Republicans, because you're going to see it. So everybody's going to go to Trump. If he had not endorsed Fred Hawkins, if he had not been with low quality booth, trying to take pictures with them, he didn't endorse them. He has not endorsed them at all. But if you didn't suck up with the swamp of Osceola, he had a strong chance of tying in Osceola.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was heartbreaking. And when that happened, it was palpable right away. Everybody was like, "Oh man, he's one of them."
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was painful.
It was. It was
painful for me too. So I believe that he's a man of conviction, but you can't. The difference between him and Trump is that Trump tells all of these people, everything's going to go my way. It's my way.
Yeah.
It's not your way. It's my way. I think that DeSantis is everything's going to go my way, but then things don't necessarily go his way. They also go the ways of all these other people, and we've seen that with his behaviors in Osceola County.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a big guy like that. And further proof, John, about some of the shady things that Governor DeSantis has been up to. He did meet before the debate privately with Governor Kemp and Mike Pence in Georgia. They had a private meeting. God only knows what they were talking about or what they were up to. But,
what would be the point of that? What would be the point of meeting with Kemp in Georgia? Yeah. Right? I mean, if anything, he should have been like, "Hey, Kemp, man, you need to help Trump. If you care about this country," because here's the one thing, the most important thing, more important than who wins the presidential election, is maintaining our country as a political prisoner-free country, where we don't put people in jail for running for president. That's the number one thing that you could have done. And so these guys go and they meet with this guy Kemp. I mean, that guy Kemp is
a never Trumper.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's just terrible. That to me is also a mistake.
Yeah. So Byron Donalds, John, he's been in the news quite a bit. He's asking the question that I think we're all asking.
And for Fannie Willis down there in Atlanta, Georgia, hey Fannie, this is actually what you bring a RICO charge for, because you have multiple people engaged to facilitate the selling of influence at the top of our politics. That is corruption.
Yep.
Let me help Fannie Willis out with that one as well.
Yep. That's the bottom line. There is corruption in government. Don't get me wrong. There's a ton of corruption. They're not going after any of it.
Yeah. He's asking, what about the Biden family?
Yeah.
Where are the RICO charges for them?
Yeah. And that literally that should be the fact that they haven't. There's no impeachment yet. What the heck is going on? They impeached Trump twice, but they can't impeach Biden for things that they've already proven happened.
We keep hearing it's coming, but we don't know where it is.
Man, it's painful.
And Pam Bondi was in the news, John. She had this to say.
Liability for Trump going into the 2024 presidential election. He is leading leaps and bounds in the polls. Well, joining us now is former Florida Attorney General and also former special advisor to President Trump, my old friend, my dear friend there, Pam Bondi. Pam, it's so great to see you. What's your reaction to this case and also DA Fannie Willis?
Well, you too, my wonderful friend, and I love your show. You have a great show, Rita. Well, first of all, Fannie Willis is in way over her head. She has charged not only President Trump, Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, Mayor Giuliani, but a total of 19 defendants, including President Trump, with I think it's a 41-count indictment that takes 98 pages. It's unbelievable. First of all, it's not a crime what they did. Free speech. It shouldn't even be in state court. Legally, it should be in federal court if they're ever going to prosecute him for something so ridiculous. But she wants a trial date set when? On March 4th, Monday. Guess when Super Tuesday is? March 5th. So it's absolutely absurd. Not going to happen. No case in history with that many co-defendants and that amount of charges. And they're all facing pretty much up to life in prison. Decades in prison, would ever go to trial before 2 years.
What does it say to you, Pam, that she's looking at Super Tuesday, too? What does it say to you?
Well, that's the ultimate election interference. The irony of all of these charges, the ultimate election interference is what
Absolutely. And you know,
man.
dates that were chosen, not even if it wasn't that date, it's still election interference. I mean, but that date.
It is election interference.
That date proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't know how she could not be removed immediately. If that guy Kemp had any courage, if he was a man of conviction, if he was a man of distinction, if he was not meaningless and worthless, he would immediately remove her from office the way that DeSantis removed
Monique Worrell. Yeah, absolutely. And Georgia voters, I hope you remember this when it comes election time for Mr. Kemp, or the primary at least.
Yeah.
Let's get him out. All right. So now we have another message from another friend. Watch this.
Again, can you trust a random text? Not surprised to see more lies from the Booth campaign. Now sending out a poll trying to make you believe lies about her opponent, Scotty Moore. Truth is, Scotty is the real conservative in this race, proven by his prior endorsements like Mark Meadows and Ted Cruz. Scotty Moore is the proven conservative. In Erica Booth's 5 minutes on the Osceola School Board, she has accomplished nothing and votes with her Democrat friends. If there's one thing Osceola County conservatives know, it's that Erica Booth is a certified rhino.
This message is paid for by T2G2 PAC. It is not paid for or authorized by any candidate or campaign.
Well,
All right,
here we
we
go.
are with Osceola County.
The most corrupt county in the state of Florida.
And, we completely agree with that last commercial. Erica Booth is not a conservative, not a true conservative. I heard somebody we both know, Jeremy Fetzer, I think he put it in a good way. If she is a conservative or a conservative Republican, she's a conservative Republican in the same vein as a Mitt Romney. So, I mean.
Yeah. So, and I think that's a fair comparison. So, Erica Booth is like a Mitt Romney if you're a Republican. And this is clear. And who would, who do you think Scotty Moore would be? I wouldn't say he's a Trump necessarily, right?
No.
But he maybe like I think policy-wise, probably like a DeSantis, right? Like when he was governor. I think that's where he lines. I mean, I don't know. You're gonna have to ask Scotty more, but my impression is that if he would have been like a DeSantis as governor type of thing, right? That's probably where his, based on my observations, that's where he's at.
I think that Scotty's gonna be the one that's gonna do what the people want.
I think that. Yeah, I think so.
He's gonna be the one that actually listens to the people. You're not going to get that with Erica Booth. Erica Booth's vote is to the developers, whatever they want. Yes. She is their puppet candidate. She is Tallahassee's puppet candidate. You're not going to get somebody who's going to represent properly District 35 if you vote for her. So just keep that in mind.
She doesn't. I mean, she won't represent anyone. What she'll do is be a puppet. So she's basically going there as a vote. They're getting a vote out of it. That's all. It's not more complicated than that. They're just going to get a vote.
No. Yeah. So, like we talked about earlier, we did attend the Orange County GOP's District 35 debate. It was last Thursday night. And here it is. It was supposed to be, all right, these were the invited candidates. There are 3 people running on the Republican side. It's Erica Booth, Scotty Moore, and Ken Davenport. Ken Davenport was MIA once again. This is the 4th or 5th event that Ken Davenport has not shown up to since he is working. And the thing about that, John, and I like Ken as an individual. We both know him. We've met him several times. If Ken doesn't have the time to attend any of these events, all right, what time does he truly have to be a true representative of the people in Tallahassee? I think that at this point, he has not shown up to any candidate forums. I think his wife has shown up for 1 or 2 for him, but personally, he has not been out there. I've seen his truck out there, but I haven't seen him out there. I think at this point, if he wants to do a service to the people of District 35, maybe it's time to step out of this race and go ahead and endorse one of the other 2. Because, if you're not out there actually door knocking, if you're not out there meeting the people of the district, if you're not attending events where you're invited to get the word out on your campaign, you can't just run on your past accomplishments. And he did run a solid race against Fred Hawkins, last year. But I can't say he's doing the same now.
Well, okay, so Ken Davenport is a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He is I'd say that I would even consider him a friend of mine. And I have a lot of affection for him and for his family, for his wife. His wife is great. She has come to events and she has spoken on his behalf, and she's done a great job. Is Ken going to win this race? Absolutely not.
No.
The other 2 candidates are way beyond him in terms of fundraising and applied effort into the race so far. And, Erica, not really. I wouldn't imagine that she's really had that much effort because she's kind of
but she's got so much money.
She's got money and support from the party.
Yeah. And she's missed a couple of events, but she has shown up to the events.
She hasn't gone to a single event in Osceola County.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. She's gone to the events that she thinks or they think
she won't get booed at.
Yeah, would benefit her the most. She won't get booed at. People that don't really know her, which is Orange County. So
yeah. She thinks that she won't get booed in Orange County, so she'll go to an Orange County event. Yeah. And if she goes to an Osceola County event, she probably would be booed.
Yep. Absolutely.
And she'll be booed because of 2 reasons. 1, because of her record on the school board, she'll be booed. And 2, because she'll be over her low IQ husband, Rick. So if low IQ...
Yeah, and his associations and what he's
accomplished, been horrendous.
Or should I say not accomplished in his time in local government. So.
Yeah, he's a horrendous county commissioner. Yeah. He's got here's the thing. When you're running in District 5, you have the chance to defend the community against the crazy Brandon Arrington and the other crazy county commissioners who are crazies, right? And so you have a chance. Instead, he's just a big wimp, a big low IQ wimp. I mean, it's the only way I can describe it. And I mean,
you know, you have an opportunity when you're a representative of District 5, whether you're the county commission or the school board, and District 35, if you're running for state representative, to protect this area. And it's such a large area, it's such a large swath of land that still remains mostly undeveloped. All right, but when you have people like this that are representing you,
but he benefits from it.
Yes, absolutely.
So he could protect it, but the fact is he benefits, you know, financially from some of these deals because his family is one of the landowning families, right? Yeah. So I mean, him and his family benefit from what they're doing. So, of course, can you trust him to do it? No. Can you trust Erica Booth? No. Why? Because they benefit from the transactions in some way, shape, or form, or their families do. Yeah. The same thing. Why was Ricky Booth such a terrible school board member? Because his first cousin was the superintendent, in my opinion. That's one of the reasons. You're not going to go against your super. He may not believe in transgender ideology, but he kept his big mouth shut, right? Now, Erica Booth, does she believe in transgender ideology? I believe she may. She might, right? But if she did not, her first cousin by marriage was the superintendent of schools, and of course, she wasn't going to speak out against her. Yeah. Right. So that's why. And so, I mean, they're just terrible. These are terrible politicians. These are the politicians that we complain about. They exemplify the reasons that Americans are mad. And if they get elected again, then, I mean, you can't complain. Yeah. You can't complain.
You know, you had Fred Hawkins representing you in District 5. Now you have Ricky Booth representing you in District 5.
Has anything gotten better since?
And you had Fred Hawkins representing you as District 35 in the state, okay, at the state level. Look at how development has creeped into your areas. District 5, District 35. Look at how development has creeped further into your areas. Look at Pine Grove. Look at out off Nova Road. Look headed towards Harmony. Look out headed towards the Manor. Look at what's happening and ask yourself, have they done a good job protecting you, protecting that area from this encroachment of further development into your area? And you can't honestly say that they have. I mean, I look at what's happening off Hickory Tree Road right now. Look at what's happening on 192 headed out towards Harmony. It's a shame. It's a shame, and it's going to continue. It's going to continue as long as you have people like these representing you.
Well, I mean, what has gotten better over the past 16 years in Osceola County? What has gotten better? Nothing. Not a single aspect of our lives in Osceola County has gotten better from the county commissioners. The economy has not been diversified, right? It has not been. We still have nothing but service industry jobs. Yeah. Development and traffic out of control, right? Out of control. Everything. Our schools, terrible. Fire department, right? Police departments, underfunded. Right? It's just, there's not a single aspect that they've done well. The only thing that they've done is gotten rich. Yeah. That's the only result of their, of their thing. They've made money. Look at Arrington. Recently, I think his family got a contract recently. Yeah. They just recently, over the last meeting, they were up for some kind of contract. Yeah.
It's like we're going to cover that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's incredible what they're doing. And they're part of it. So to continue to elect someone like Erica Booth, it would be it's terrible. Yeah. And the fact is, all the teachers, I mean, did she do any of the things that she said she was going to do? Has she been parental rights advocates? No, absolutely not. She's been the opposite. Has she supported the teachers in any way, significant way? Absolutely not. There's nothing that they've done. There's nothing that they've accomplished in the positive, and everything that they've done has been harmful to the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this debate, John, it wasn't really a debate. It was more of a candidate forum where they got they got asked a question, they give an answer.
They didn't allow anyone to record.
No.
And they didn't do that, I imagine, because they wanted to help Erica Booth. Because she can't survive on her own out there,
They told us that they didn't want Democrats using this against them. But, this is my thing. if you want more people to get your message, to hear your word, you're going to make that available to people in every possible forum that you can. The Orange County GOP should have had this out there on social media or
absolutely.
on YouTube, something, so that people could hear from these candidates instead
How
of
are
trying
they
to
gonna
keep
use
it undercover and
Yeah,
hide
they were
it.
saying that the Democrats were going to use it against them. I mean, these are the policies.
Yes.
Why are we not being transparent about what our policies are? Our policies is what make us better than them. So why wouldn't you push forward those policies? Because you're afraid to say that you're a Republican? Listen, I represent the most left-leaning district in the entire county. When I was walking doors in my county, they asked me, who do you support? Donald Trump. That's what I would say. I didn't hide it back then, and we had no idea how bad Joe Biden was going to be.
Yeah.
Right, and I still was going to say that Joe Biden wasn't the president or even running then, but nonetheless, I clearly told the public, why can't you as a Republican be transparent and honest with the community and tell us what your views are? Because right now they need them. Right now there's a void of good views, of quality views. We need them.
Yeah, absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
Not recording them is ridiculous. I thought that was a real terrible call on their part, and it was obviously everything is done to protect the slimy candidate in that race.
Yes, absolutely. So there was a couple of things that stood out to me, John. She was asked a question why she's running for this seat so soon after being elected as a school board member. She did not have an adequate answer for that. She didn't even answer the question.
She didn't even answer the question.
She totally went around it. She started talking about what was it? Was she talking about insurance or something like that instead? It just didn't make any sense. She looked quite uncomfortable at times with the questions. John was sitting in the front row, basically, second row.
Yeah.
Second row. She tried to use John as a point of as a talking point that she voted along with John on something, okay? Because she saw John was in the audience, and Scotty turned that around on her, letting the people there know that John was there in support of Scotty. So that was a good thing that Scotty did, a good zinger. But it wasn't really a heated debate. It wasn't something like that. But it was the first time that we've seen Erica Booth appear at an event. So. Yeah. It was what I thought it would be with her. She seemed uncomfortable with many of the questions, didn't have a really adequate answer, always went back to education, even though she has not been an advocate for education in her time on the school board. So,
I thought it was he clearly won.
Yeah.
His answers, every answer that he gave was superior to her answer that she gave. Is she likable? She's quiet and pleasant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, she seems like a really nice lady. Like, she was sitting up there. She seemed like a really nice lady that you would, talk to. She looked like if she was your teacher, that, you would be pleased with that selection as a teacher.
I mean, I don't know, because she would be. It seems like she doesn't have control over a classroom, in my opinion. So she wouldn't be like. She didn't seem like she was squared away. She just seemed like a nice lady, right?
Yeah, and personally, we don't have any issue with Erica Booth personally. Our issue is with the fact that she is. Well, you might. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's always for me. Politics is personal. When you run and you take an oath and you tell people you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and then you don't do it and you have no intention to, that's personal to me. You lied to me. You lied to my family. You lied to my friends. You lied to the people. And to me, that is personal. So when they say, oh, it's not personal. Politics is not personal. Yeah, politics is not personal. The campaign is not personal. None of those things are. I don't care. But when you swear the oath, when you raise your right hand and you swear the oath, or you put your hand on that Bible and you swear the oath, then it becomes personal. Then it's personal because you're swearing an oath to do a duty. And when you fail in that duty and you did not even have the intention, and you're swearing on the Bible that you're going to do something knowing that you're not going to do it, that is personal.
Yeah.
That is personal.
No,
That's what I have personal.
I get that. I just look at her as a human being, and I'm just like, she seems like a decent human being. But I know why she's running. I know, too much about her and her associations and the associations of her husband and the people around them. And I know that she is not there for the right reasons. Not at all. So,
I don't think anybody thinks she is.
I hope that we get another chance that more people attend, and it's in Osceola County, for people to see Erica Booth. I think District 35, despite the fact that there are more actual voters in the Orange County side of District 35, the larger part overall of District 35 geographically is in Osceola County. And there's a lot of land there that needs to be protected from developers, from these people. So,
well, if you live in Osceola County and you want to conserve any of the land that's in Osceola County, as opposed to, you're basically selling. It's like if you have a candy store, right? The last person that you would trust to run that candy store is a kid with a candy addiction. Right, and if so, it's the same with development. If you want to conserve any of that land, the last thing you want to do is trust somebody who's already proven to have an addiction to developing that land for their own benefit. Yeah. And that's what you would be doing. That's what you would be doing, because she's part of that whole body of people that just want to sell the land and get rid of it.
Yeah.
That debate, by the way, one of the questions that they asked was. They ask, like what you were saying, why would you want to run this? And Scotty's like, hey, I would want to run because of this and this and this and this. It's all about our kids. Everybody agrees this is about our kids. It's about our kids' future. And she has a proven record of what she's done as a school board member, and it's not been positive.
No. And I know that
they protect her, but it still hasn't been positive.
Those talking points are going to be coming out really soon. I've heard from several people that are going back through looking at her school board record and going through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm sure that stuff is going to come out. And,
watch how her voting changes now. She's going to vote on everything conservative now because she has voted with the Democrats 99% of the time on the school board. Now she's going to start voting with me and supporting me on that school board, just so that she doesn't create more of a record of being a disappointment and a failure to the community.
I personally, because I watch the school board meetings, I know everyone else who watches the school board meetings knows that her voting record, the way she votes, pretty much has changed since she filed to run for state representative. Yeah. She started voting along with Jon, which we never saw before. Never saw that before. She voted along with the other two witches, or
and there's only one example of her voting with me, right? Yeah. There's only one example of her voting with me, and it's because she had just filed and she had to. But other than that, she'll not vote, right? Like she'll not vote, she'll not second, she'll not do anything, and she won't really have any involvement in the meeting. Here's the thing: if she did not come to the meetings, we wouldn't miss her at all. If Heather Cahoon did not come to the meetings, we would not miss her at all. They're coming with instructions on how to vote because they don't add anything to they never have any changes for the agenda. They never contribute anything. All they do is vote how they're told, and then they go home. That's all. Go watch the meetings. I know that they may be long, but if you really, really, really want to know who she's going to be, just go back and watch the meetings from the first one that she was at
back in November
to the most recent one. Yeah, it's not like it's that many meetings.
And you can see right from the start of that meeting, because she made the motion to make Terry Castillo the chairperson of the Osceola School Board.
Yeah.
Terry Castillo, who is the most liberal person on the school board. She is the one who was pushing for a mask mandate for kids. Erica Booth was the one that nominated her as the chairperson of the school board. So you can see that. I know that's already been out there. People have seen it. Anyway, all right, so we'll move on. But it's more about the Booth campaign right now. Erica Booth's campaign, through their Tallahassee surrogate, has sent a cease and desist letter to a committee claiming support. They're saying is spreading disinformation. This is the letter that was sent. It was from Coates Law Firm to our friend Jeremy Fetzer, asking him to cease and desist. And they're talking about these text messages that have been going out, and Here's one that I got. And it says CFL Green endorsed. Erica Booth was endorsed by CFL Green Initiatives Coalition because she supports Florida Green New Deal climate plan, Florida carbon tax on all small businesses, and a 10% per gallon gas tax to offset carbon footprint. Now, I have seen other texts come out about Erica Booth that might have come from Back to Blue, Florida Back to Blue.
Yeah.
Talking about how she's a rhino. We talk about how she's a rhino. So that's not disinformation.
The question is she a rhino? Is she legitimately a rhino? In your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She's absolutely a rhino. There's no doubt about it. She is a Romney conservative. Okay,
Yeah.
That's who she is. She's a Romney conservative. So if you want a Romney conservative, that's your pick.
I think anybody that's paying attention, John, or has paid attention knows that she is not a DeSantis conservative who she was sending out mailers and text messages, pictures with him. And she's definitely not a Trump conservative who now she's sending pictures out or, with texts and mailers. So
absolutely not. Absolutely not DeSantis at all. In fact, I think they are all supporting, just like Fred Hawkins. They're not supporting Trump. They're going against Trump. So they're definitely not Trump.
You would
people
never know that if you were to just pay attention to
Yeah.
the text messages that are coming from Erica Booth, because she's sending
She
a
says
picture
that she's
with
a big Trump.
Yeah.
They're absolutely not. Absolutely not. She is not a Trump conservative. So let me tell you something. If she were, her and I would be on the same side of things many times, right? She's absolutely not. She went to that. Oh, that's the other thing that she said at that debate. Like, oh, I'm the parental rights person, and I've been fighting for parents, and all this stuff is crazy. What?
That is
I was there.
bold,
That was right in front of me.
bold lie.
I was right there. I've been right there. What are you talking about? I'm like shooting over the foxhole. Where have you been?
He was sitting there in the pew, like his leg was going a mile a minute. You could tell he was like burning up.
I
What she
couldn't
was saying.
believe it. She was straight out lying through her teeth. I couldn't believe it. So, they're mad that Jeremy is hitting them on this stuff, right? The GOP is mad. So here's what's going on. The House GOP, okay, not the we didn't even do anything of that, but okay. So the House campaigns, which belongs to the Speaker of the House, are the people that are supporting Erica. They're supporting Erica because they were asked to. Now, they get in, they decide. They don't want anybody fighting back against the party. So the party is getting all this resistance to Erica. They're spending a ton of money, and they're pissed that there's people that are organized and talented fighting against her, which Jeremy is one of them. He's organized, he's talented, he's doing his thing, he's all on his own. He's independently fighting against Erica Booth.
He's using his own money to do this.
Yes. And then you have me, right? I'm fighting. So you have the only elected official who's an actual conservative in Osceola County fighting against Erica Booth. They're pissed. They want people to obey their commands. Why am I not obeying their commands? Because I'm not going to lie on the behalf of the party or on behalf of anybody. She is a rhino. She's absolutely not a conservative. I've been there. I've been in that fight for fighting for parents since the day that I was elected. I did not know that I was going to get involved in that fight. It came before me. The fight came to me. I didn't come to the fight. And the fact is that she has not lifted a finger on that cause at all. So I'm not going to lie on her behalf and say that she didn't. So, of course, I'm not supporting her. I'm fighting against her also. The party came. The chairman of the GOP gave me a call. I'm not going to divulge what our conversation was. But in the end, basically, Jeremy also put out a text with a recording of me and the chairman having a conversation. That conversation happened over Twitter. Basically, somebody texted me the Twitter space and said, hey, the chairman of the GOP is there now. You should go raise your hand and make a comment. I went, I raised my hand, I waited in line. I didn't even think I was going to get called on, right? But anyways, I did. And I had a conversation with the GOP chair, and I said, she is not a conservative, blah, blah, whatever. And he said that they are not supporting her. The GOP, listen very carefully, the Florida GOP is not supporting Erica Booth. They do not get involved in these campaigns.
That's what he said, and this was over Twitter Spaces, all right? He was public. On a Twitter space. Many other people that were in that space listening to that conversation heard it as well.
Yes. And then Jeremy somehow got wind of that recording, and then he put it out there. So then I get a call, right? Like, hey, are you whatever? I was like, whatever. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about that conversation. But then all of a sudden, this hatchet man, GOP hatchet man, comes onto the picture and starts threatening me that they're going to take me out as a school board member. They're going to take me out. Next election, I'm coming out. This is the second time. Once was over Fred Hawkins. I was vehemently against Fred Hawkins because I know what a swamp creature he is, right? And so he came after me then, and he threatened me. He threatened me. Like everybody knows, I've been arrested in my life, right? Okay, I've not been ashamed or embarrassed. I wish, believe me, I always wish I make better choices in life. But I was arrested, and he took my mugshot, and he was putting it on Twitter or whatever, and threatening me, saying he's going to take me out. He's going to say that I'm associated with Julius Melendez, and I'm associated with Will Fonseca, and I'm associated with all these people, and because I'm a Democrat, and really I'm a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat, and I'm going to take you out. I'm going to take you out. He made all these threats to me. Listen. I've been friends with Julius for more than 25 years. The minute that he showed me, that he demonstrated in public and to everyone that was watching in the world that he has no integrity, I have not spoken with Julius since. Okay? Yeah. So I did not speak. Julius showed me his true colors. He had no integrity. I stopped speaking with him. Somebody that I had a relationship with for more than 25 years. We've been friends. He was like my younger brother. But you know what? He had no integrity. I'm not going to do that. Because I did. I put my hand on the Bible and I made an oath. I was going to uphold my oath no matter what. And I could talk. That's a whole other show why that happened. Yeah. But nonetheless, so I'm not associated with Melendez, nor would I help him reelect himself or anything else, right? Then Will Fonseca. There were only two Democrats in that race. There was Will Fonseca, and there was another Democrat, Heather Cahoon, who ended up winning because the party did not come and help and because nothing ever happened. She's the most left-leaning person on the entire school board. So, of course, I'm going to help Will Fonseca. But in the primary, I was helping the Republican, which, again, DeSantis did not get involved in that race. Nobody came to help us. There was no help. They left us on our own. They outspent us by hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they won. Wow. Now, my sister, of course, my sister was running. I'm going to help my sister. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about your party more than I care about my country. I don't care about your party more than I care about my community. I care about my community and my country first. And so, of course, I'm going to help my sister because she was the right candidate against somebody that we already knew was crazy. And I mean crazy, like some people who have blown up in meetings and emotional and crying and screaming and yelling and kicking down my office door, things like that, crazy. So, of course, I'm going to support the right person. That right person happened to be my sister in that case. Yeah.
And I think, John, at the local level, especially here within our local circle of Osceola County, we have to look at the person or the individual that's running.
Well, it was a nonpartisan race.
Right.
It's a nonpartisan race.
A lot of these races here locally are nonpartisan races, but we have to look at the person first. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to look at if the person doesn't have integrity, then they shouldn't be elected.
If I know that this person is part of the Osceola County Uniparty and that they're going to go along with corruption, they're going to be part of this, corruption that's going on here, I'm not going to vote for them.
Yeah, no matter what party they are, right?
It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't vote for Fred Hawkins for any reason. There's no way you could get me to vote for that guy because I know what a creep he is. I know what he did to the community, and I wouldn't vote for him. Yeah. And here's the thing. In the end, you look at these people, they were willing to do anything. Lie, cheat, steal to win an election. I can't support that. Because, there's no better time than today for the Republican Party to be one of integrity, because the Democrats are giving us such an opportunity to be that way.
And you've got so many people from within the party yearning for that, looking for that, looking for the party to stand up and have some integrity. And we see so many people that are in party leadership that have very little.
Yeah, absolutely. Very little. None, if any. So it's just a shame. It's just a shame. The state of affairs. People, you need to get out there. You need to turn out the vote, and you absolutely need to get involved in that race. Make phone calls. Do whatever you're going to do, because last thing we want is for these people to succeed and then feel like they're working with impunity. It doesn't matter what they do. They can do anything they want. They can give themselves contracts. They can do anything they want because they'll always get away with it. That's just not the case. We don't want that.
Absolutely. So, there's not really much left to the show right now. That was basically it. But There is a rumor, a really hot rumor that's rolling around online. We're not going to talk about it until it actually happens, but supposedly someone is going to file for us or St. Cloud mayor.
Oh, before we go there, let me mention this also. So anyways, the guy's name is Anthony Pedicini. I wanted to mention his name. Look him up on social media. You'll see this guy's a real piece of work. He's basically a GOP hatchet man. He's going to come after everybody who does not do what they say. The party should not be picking that person, just like the Uniparty should not be picking who's going to be the mayor of St. Cloud. Yeah. And that's going to be an interesting race going forward. We're going to look into that and talk a lot about that.
We're hearing about this individual. This individual is known to many within political circles in Osceola County. It's going to be very fascinating if this person does file for St. Cloud mayor, but and we'll have plenty to say about it. But Anthony Pedicini. Anthony Pedicini is no stranger to Osceola County or the Osceola County Uniparty. He's been involved in several races here in Osceola County prior. He was involved in Fred Hawkins' race when he was running for state representative.
The only good guy, but it's always with trash. The only good guy that I know that he really ran or was involved with his campaign was Mike LaRosa. Yeah. So he did Mike. And here's the thing. Listen to this. So when Mike LaRosa was running for office, I did some work for him, right, for his campaign. The Florida GOP was supposed to pay. Anthony Pedicini was on that campaign, and he tried to stiff me of my bill.
Wow.
So that was before I knew anything about it. He tried to stiff me the bill. So I had a call with him, and I was like, listen, you guys need to pay me my money. This is what we agreed to. You guys need to pay me. And then he was like, oh, well, we can't pay. And then even Rocky, remember Rocky Hague used to work for him. We had that conversation, and he's like, oh, you got to talk to him. And I was like, man, forget it. You guys, you need to pay me. He was trying to stiff me on my bill. That's what a piece of work he is, a piece of trash. Even back then, before. So I've known him for it's more than 12 years now, more than 10 years. He was a piece of work then, dishonorable, slimy guy.
He's the one who sends all the negative campaign mailers out.
So
if you see a negative campaign mailer come to your mailbox, it's probably
by his
sent
design.
By him.
Well, and he was also sued by a candidate in Hillsborough County for lying to the media, trying to change. You'll have to go and Google that thing. He got sued by a candidate. He was one of the defendants in a lawsuit, basically for being a dishonest guy and trying to trick. He's one of these dirty money guys. You know, like when they talk about dirty money, they're talking about they take dirty money and then they give it to a creep like this, and then that creep does all the bad things that they don't want to be. Nobody wants to be associated with. Yeah. So that's his role.
Yeah, so I guess that's it, John.
Okay.
We'll be back on Thursday for our regularly scheduled episode of Unsanctioned, where we will have special guest Josh Myers on the show. Josh Myers is the man who sued Osceola County and won. It won.
They appealed. They changed it. He went. It was affirmed. We saw it. They just did a lot. Boom, affirmed. Yeah. That was it. So. Congratulations, Josh.
This was over the emergency management group that Osceola County has that comes together and makes decisions for all of us during times of emergency. And the funny thing,
they avoid the sunshine.
Yeah, and they avoid the sunshine. So it's going to be very interesting because supposedly we have a hurricane coming our way, and they are getting together again, the emergency management group. So let's see if they violate sunshine law one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people never learn.
Well, now they're going to have to. He's going to have to get an injunction. I hope that lawyer made a whole bunch of money doing this too.
Absolutely.
Listen, we appreciate you watching the show. It's been a long one, and I know that we had that hiccup with the sound in the very beginning, but we appreciate you sticking with us and watching the show. We'll go back and we'll edit. We'll upload one without the gap in the sound.
Yeah.
Listen, but we really do appreciate you guys following and watching. All of our views come after the live. I don't even know why we do it actually live, but it's funner live, I think, and it forces us to get through it. So we truly appreciate your help. Please like and share. We are shadow banned, and as a matter of fact, just before when we started the show, I got the notification from Facebook that my account became restricted. Yeah. So it's really important that you do like and share. So please do like and share. Also follow me on Twitter. Right? Please follow us on Twitter. I'm at Jon Unsanctioned.
It's Tom Lord.
It's Tom Lord, okay?
It's Tom Lord.
At It's Tom Lord.
It's Tom Lord.
At Jon Unsanctioned. Follow the show. please like and follow again. And then lastly, I'm going to be making my campaign announcement here coming up. We didn't really talk about it.
On the show?
Well, no, on the show. I don't know. That's Thursday. Yes, I'll make it on the show.
Awesome.
I was thinking about it on the show or something. We'll see what happens. I'm going to make a campaign announcement and then maybe have a small little event there on September 1st, so which would be Friday. So stay tuned to that. I will, and as a matter of fact, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'll make the announcement on the show first.
Awesome.
So watch that night. Thank you very much. We appreciate you guys. Like and share the show. As I said, God bless you. Have a great night. See you next week.